Ladies and gentlemen, now in today's video I wanted to showcase some updated Alliance Quest Map 7 gameplay. So this is a full run through Map 7 on day number 5, so it's the hardest iteration of Map 7, but also I think either next week or this week we are going to have all these additional fun nodes coming to Alliance Quest, so I'm looking forward to those. Those should be a little bit interesting, so we'll see how we get on there, but this is like without any of the nodes or before the nodes are added. So we got Nick Fury and double Sunspot, and this is kind of my core setup for Alliance Quest. The first 3 fights are a little bit less interesting because only villains can gain power during these fights. Nick Fury and Sunspot are both characters tagged as hero there. However, we don't use Sunspot for the Ghost matchup just due to the fact that he's applying a lot of incinerates, a lot more incinerates than Nick Fury bleeds, and also has the class disadvantage, so it really isn't a good shout there. But even without any power gain, man, that's still like a 50-second kill for Nick Fury, so a really straightforward takedown of Ghost there. And then moving on to a slightly more interesting matchup, we do have Hood. So for this matchup, I usually start playing my Sunspot because I like to do 9 combos against Hood. It's really, really fun because one of the massive advantages with Sunspot is with his perfect block. As soon as you have an Incinerate, you get like a super long stun. So if you're not kind of converting those heavies back into charges and siphoning back into power, you can actually use that additional stun to get a 9 combo off the stun, which is just really, really fun. And also the fact that while the opponent is incinerated, you have a 100% chance to perfect block on every single parry. You can see Sunspot's health, unless you make a big mistake, just doesn't really drop down much, which is so nice to see because a lot of characters, especially on like day 5 in map 7, on the parries, they get quite dented because the attack is so much. So yeah, Sunspot is tremendously fun to play for that, but also these next 2 matchups that you're going to see really aren't that advantageous for Sunspot just due to the fact that he really thrives off kind of throwing his special attacks for damage output, and you're really going to see that when we get to the pleasure to burn path. So overall, that was a slightly slower kill than Nick Fury on the initial Ghost fight there, but to be honest, man, Nick Fury is just crazy for this first section and second section, but because we've already done kind of a full feature on Nick Fury before, I wanted to try and play Sunspot in as many fights as I possibly could today. So I brought the 5-star one and the 6-star version, but to be fair, this is like what I always run when it comes to Alliance Quest. However, in the MODOK matchup, I did want to bring in Sunspot as well, just to showcase his ability to kind of deal additional block damage, also kind of throw those like 9 combos, but even you can hit into the block and like penetrate through a lot of it, just due to the fact that the Incinerate has minus 50% block proficiency, so it just enhances the damage that you deal into MODOK's block even more. However, sometimes it can be a little bit, risky to pound too much into MODOK's block, so we're getting the occasional hit here and there, and also you can see if you parry a special attack just at the right time, then it guarantees that you take 0 damage from the rest of that special attack, so that's a really fun little feature as well. But this MODOK, he's going down quite nicely so far, like he's just at 30% remaining, kind of pushing in very close to a special 3 right about now, then we back off trying to bait out the special 2, and my evade timing wasn't super great on the first hit, but we evaded the second one there. We've taken a little bit of block damage just again because we didn't perfectly time the parry there or go for the evade, but another combo and that stacked version of MODOK is absolutely ruined. So yeah, Sunspot, he's not the best MODOK counter out there, but he works, he gets the job done, and that is certainly what we like. Now, moving on to the next morning in Section 2, we've got the Pleasure to Burn path. So all of these characters, if they don't have an Incinerate, take like 90% less damage. But the huge advantage with Sunspot on this path is that every single attack you throw is going to incinerate your opponent. So you never need to worry about this reduction, and it's so fun. Here I tried to kind of bait Hulk into a parry just in the combo before, but that wasn't super successful. So we go for a parry here, cheeky little medium attack, we heavy to siphon the power back, and really the rotation for most fights now becomes use 1 special 1, use 1 special 2, and the fight is over. Like the special 2 has so much damage, even with just 2 stacks of flare state, it's just enough to knock out even like day 5 opponents in Alliance Quest map 7. So that Hulk, at about 9,000 attack, about 120,000 hit points, just absolutely torn through so quickly. Like that was like a 30-second kill or something. And once you get rolling on this path, the roll rolling just continues, man. It's really, really fun. So moving on to the next matchup, we got Luke Cage, and this one, you know, is a little bit of a challenge in a different way, because he's got unblockable for the first 6 seconds of the fight, but also I like to try and see if I can KO Luke Cage before his indestructible comes back off cooldown. And this is like a max sig Luke Cage as well, so you know, it's a fun little challenge on the daily, but we're starting off with the evades, just trying to find a good interval to go in with a 5 combo. We managed to bait out a heavy attack there, which is really nice, kind of just loading up the incinerates at the moment, and then we absorb those incinerates back, chain on with a special 1, so this is going to give us 2 stacks of flare state, and then the goal now is to siphon back those incinerates and generate enough power to get us back to the special 2. Here we get a clutch parry on the special 1, so we siphon all those incinerates back, get all the power for siphoning them back, and then go for a medium light medium, medium light medium, straight into a special 2, just before that indestructible comes off cooldown, and that man is absolutely ruined in just under 40 seconds there. So yeah, I love Sunspot, man. He's so much fun to play. But also keep in mind that this wasn't a week where there was an advantage to mutant characters, so there's like no additional attack here as well. This is just like regular Sunspot performance, and this is the reason I run 2 Sunspots for this path, because if it's Pleasure to Burn or Disstrack, because Disstrack is another node that's really annoying to deal with for your average champion, because it means you can only deal damage to the opponent when they have 3 or more debuffs on them. But if you're playing Sunspot and you get to like 2 stacks of flare state, it's so easy to keep up more than 2 incinerates on the opponent. So yeah, it's just really, really straightforward there. But here in this blade matchup, we're going in fast, man. We've already got our first stack of flare state on top of the additional one that we start with, so we literally just need to get to a special 2 now, and you can play very, very aggressively against this blade. Again, we have the class advantage, so the special 2 just absolutely melts him, and as the hit applies, the incinerate seems to apply beforehand. So yeah, we got the full damage off that last hit, and blade just goes down. Now, usually one of the worst fights on Disstrack or Pleasure to Burn is Crossbones, just because he has this ability to constantly shrug off debuffs, and the more he shrugs off, the more kind of aggressively he becomes at shrugging off those debuffs as well. However, with Sunspot, just because there are so many debuffs going on, especially once you get like 2 stacks of flare state, every single hit is applying 2 incinerates, it's just really easy to keep up at least 1 incinerate, and if you're on Disstrack as well, then like 3 stacks of flare state and you are absolutely fine there. We can see we got a ton of incinerates. We go for a medium there. I don't know why I didn't finish my combo, man. I just like woke up first thing there. Another combo straight into a special 2, and there were miles of overkill on that Crossbones. So that Crossbones, especially on Disstrack, can be like one of the worst fights in all of Alliance Quest Map 7, but Sunspot just rolls that fight. So if you do take this path, man, Sunspot, at least in my opinion, is just like the essential counter to making this path so easy. Moving into the final section is all about Nick Fury, because we tackle the Do You Bleed path. So this path, champions can only take damage via bleed damage and block damage. So Sunspot can actually work like a little bit on these paths, but Nick Fury is just too good, man. If you're a skilled Nick Fury player, this path is an absolute joke for you. So I always get purposely KO'd on the Wasp here, just so I can instantly retaliate with a special 1, completely shut down the evade mechanic, and you're going to see like every single source of damage that isn't bleed is going to deal 0. So only bleed damage can get Wasp down. However, once we start kind of mashing out those 5 combos, ending with light attacks there, the damage just goes, you know, a little bit ridiculous. Every single bleed is about like almost 25% of our maximum health there. So even on day 5, like a few combos and this lass is absolutely ruined. We also have 17 of the charges now, so we can kind of make our own opportunities to attack into Wasp, but here we bait out another special 1, and yeah, there we go, just one more combo, man, another tick of bleed, and she is down there. But such a quick, such an efficient fight from Nick Fury. And then on this path there are 3 more fights as well. So you've got Phoenix, Electro, and also the original version of Hulk. So tackling this Phoenix, the Phoenix is probably like the second most annoying. I'd say Wasp is, you know, a little bit annoying sometimes, because she does have Limber. Every single champion on this path does have Limber, but Phoenix, just because of her regeneration and slightly annoying special 2 loop if you do trigger it, just requires maybe a little bit more patience than some of the other fights as well. But you can see like 2 combos, man, she was already bled down to like below 50% there, and it's just crazy, man. It's just absolutely crazy the amount of bleed on Nick Fury. Here we push her to her cheat death, and she retaliates with a special 2 but doesn't get the heal from it, so we just need one more parry to go in with a 5 combo combo, end on a light attack, special 2 for good measure to finish off, and there we go, Phoenix is down. But Nick Fury, he's the king of bleeds. If you didn't already know this, if this is news to you, like when it comes to like pure bleed damage, the only thing that can kind of rival Nick Fury's damage output is a very high combo Domino in Labyrinth of Legends, because that's the only way she can kind of ramp up like enough and the opponent can survive to get like a strong enough bleed to contend with Nick Fury's bleed. But even then, man, you know, you're relying on RNG and crit bleeds, whereas Nick Fury is just guaranteed like a lot of bleed damage, so he's just the absolute boy for this. And you can also run Blade on like this final section path as well, but the difference between Nick Fury and Blade on this one, just in my opinion, is like night and day. Like Nick Fury just gets the job done so quickly. Look at that electro fight, man. That was like, you know, barely 20 seconds of actual combat time there. It was just a slaughter, mate. A few quick combos and that man is absolutely shredded. And the best part about Nick Fury versus Electro, he's not like a perfect counter to that matchup, but on that note, because the only source of damage you can deal is bleed damage, you take no damage back from it, so it's really, really nice. But that's like a massive pro with a Nick Fury versus Electro matchup, is like he doesn't retaliate or reflect any of the bleed damage there, so it's a really fun time. Going in for this final matchup, we have the OG version of Hulk here, so I always like to try and push this man to his special 2, just because it's super easy to evade, and also gives me 2 Furies to retaliate in with a combo, and if I'm very quick, 2 combos, and we get like massive mega bonus bleed damage there. You can see the bleeds were dealing about 11,000 per second, so yeah, some crazy stuff from Nick Fury. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching today's video. Please do smash that like button, take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.